Here is a shocker. Take a look in the official D&D books for rules about drunkenness. You will not find any. As Dungeon Masters, we've just been house ruling it. We've been using the poison condition, which means that you get disadvantage on all your attack rolls and you get disadvantage on all of your ability checks. But that doesn't feel right. If you get bit by a giant centipede, poison. If you get stabbed with a dagger of venom, poison. If you drink 20 beers, poison. And yeah, of course, that's a really clean and simple gameplay mechanic, just to abstract everything down to the poison condition in every instance. But in this case, if we're having a character that's having a character moment of being a party goer and, you know, eating everything that they find in the forest and drinking all the beers, this doesn't really hit the brief for that kind of story beat. So in this video, we're looking for a solution, and we're going to do that by embracing some real world fidelity without taking any of these drugs or even drinking any of these drinks that I'm about to mention. I'm not even going to say their names, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. If you take this hallucinogen, then the walls look like they're melting. If you take that hallucinogen, then you're going to regress through past lives. Eat this pill and you're going to tell your friends just how much you love them. Eat that pill, you will punch your dad. Smoke this thing, you have a giggle. Smoke that thing, you won't sleep for 5 days. And those are all drugs, but it's also true for like alcohol. Because if you drink too many beers, we know that you'll feel bloated. We'll know that the room will spin when you try to go to sleep. But if you drink bourbon, hey, that's got a reputation for making you aggressive. Like this cultural knowledge, this database that we've all got access to about how these different drugs and alcohols interact and the effects they have. And I want to bring that into the game. My mate Randall Wright and I came up with this list of 10 different drugs and alcohol and distinct effects that they can have on your character with mechanics that you can use to replace that poison condition. I'll run through 3 of the effects, but if you want all 10 of them, you can get it on my Patreon for $5. And for that $5, you get literally everything I've ever published. And do you know what? I really need it because there's no way that they're going to let me run ads on this video. Especially with this in the PDF. The Blue Sweat's also known as tumble beer, and it's like a thick bluish colored fruit drink. This one's meant to capture the sentiment of when you're drunk, you don't run around telling people how drunk you are. What you do is you try to act normal. And if someone goes, hey, you're really drunk, you will try and convince them that you're not. The consumer experiences calming hallucinations. The glittery blue perspiration makes it obvious that the user is under the influence of something strange. But the consumer remains hyper fixated on acting normal. The consumer can't take reactions for the duration, unwilling or unable to overreact to things. So you're not going to take any of your opportunity attacks. You're not going to do your counter spell because, hey, no, I'm chill. I'm fine. I'm normal. This one's called Color Vision, also known as unicorn water, which kind of makes me think maybe it's unicorn wee. I don't know. But it's a sweet wine. You drink it. This effect is meant to capture the feeling of when you're drunk. Do you ever get hyper fixated on something? Like you're really invested in whatever this light is doing or whatever that dog is doing, and you just want to pay a lot of attention to that. This is what we're trying to mimic here. When you drink a mug of Color Vision, you are going to intensely experience colors to the point of distraction. And whenever you are in bright light, you now have disadvantage on wisdom perception checks. That also means you're going to take a -5 to your passive perception, because that's how those rules work. This one's one of my favorites. It's not a drink, it's called Friendly Fumes, also known as Crackle's boyfriend or group tattoo. This one's meant to replicate the kind of affection that you feel when you're out with your friends having some beers and you go, oh, I love these guys. I love you, man. I love you. So if your character huffs Friendly Fumes, then the first time you roll a d20 on any of your future turns, you're going to have to say something nice about one of the other party members. And if you don't do this, like imagine the player does a bad job. They don't want to do this. They don't want to say something nice. Then instead they are overwhelmed by unprocessed feelings about their very dear companions, and they have disadvantage on the roll. If you say something nice, then you don't get disadvantage. Do you see what we're trying to do here? Like, these are fun. I'm excited about having this happen to me. I'm not excited about being poisoned and just having disadvantage on everything. At least in this rule set, hey, I get to say, I love you, man. I get to fixate on a light. That's exciting. I get to act normal. We were a little bit worried about the players trying to use some of these effects in combat. Like, imagine if they were just running around with a wet rag trying to chloroform goblins. So instead, we're going to say that all of these effects, as a blanket rule, they take 10 minutes plus 2d10 minutes to apply. Like, you take it, then the effect happens like a half an hour later, and they last for 20 minutes plus 2d20, so up to an hour. So let's make some more of these. Just picture an experience you've had when you're out with your mates, having some beers, and a certain feeling that you had, a discrete single feeling of the overall effect of drinking, and let's apply mechanics to it. Is it the fact that, like, hey, sometimes you can't tie your shoes properly, or you lose things, or maybe you forget things, maybe you get lost? How do you apply mechanics to each of those individual traits? And then once you've got that feeling you want to explore, think of some kind of drink that could cause that effect, and like, what's it called? What's its street name? What does it look like? How do you take it? And let me know in the comments downstairs. And if you want all 10 of the things that me and Randy made, it's on my Patreon, $5. Check it out. Everyone down here, these are my patrons. Thank you so much for the support. I haven't done a video in a while, and that's because I had COVID and I couldn't speak. My voice has only just come back properly. I didn't want to do one of these videos with this voice. So thanks for your patience. I'll see you like next week. Okay, leave a comment. Bye.